What's up, everybody? How we doing? We are live from Boise, Idaho, for a little live action. I'm traveling in my business, but we got to get our DFS golf in. 2022 Farmers Open, biggest tournament of the year so far. So we had to kind of do a quick little overview here. As always, using FantasyNational.com. Before we get too started here, I'm going to go ahead and retweet this. If anybody wants to hop in here, we certainly can. Hopefully everybody's having a good night tonight. 9:15 local time here in Boise. Pretty good. A little cold. Not as cold as some of you fellow Midwesterners out there. Head back to good old Nevada tomorrow. But I wanted to make sure we get this out to you guys. It'll drop via podcast. It'll drop via YouTube. YouTube should be up pretty much directly after this. Podcast should be up sometime tomorrow. Video upload it. It'll be on Spotify as well. So let's jump right into it. Top of the board. Guess what? It's Jon Rahm again. Going to be a very, very common theme this year. His stat categories for this is just, he's first in strokes gained total, first strokes gained tee to green, first in strokes gained ball striking, second in strokes gained off the tee, and second in DK points out of the entire field. I mean, we talked about it last week, right? Fading Rahm and Cantlay ended up actually paying off if you did it, and we're able to get everybody through the cut. I had a lot of 5 and 6s last week. Some of the guys I took my dart throws on didn't quite pan out for me. But fading those two guys actually did it for you last week. They, thank God, were just a little bit off. So that was a good thing. Anyways, it's going to be a tough week this week. I mean, this is a course that Jon Rahm absolutely loves. He always does very well here. It's one of the courses where, he's perennially done great at. But we've got a pretty strong top of the field. And down here at 10,300 is my main man, Dustin Johnson. Now, it'll be interesting to see Dustin. We usually see him at the Century Tournament of Champions. Didn't see him there this year. He took pretty good amount of time off in the off season here. He is, just took some time off. But he's one of those guys, and he could be spicy if he does well. He hasn't played since the CJ Cup, and that was in October. I mean, he just totally shut it down. Went on that pretty hot little run there. Missed cut, 10 at he went 8th at the Open, missed the cut, 10th at St. Jude, missed the cut of the Northern Trust, 6th in the BMW, and then finished 8th at the Tour Championship. Mostly doing it with a hot putter. Gained 10 strokes putting at the Tour Championship. Lost almost 6.3 strokes tee to green on the field. For Dustin Johnson, maybe it's a good thing he took that much time off. But at 10,300, almost 1,000 less than Rahm, he's a guy that I absolutely love this week. Don't really care that it's his first tournament. Yes, there's going to be some risk built into that, but I mean, who cares? This is a bomber's paradise. They're going to just absolutely. Last week, same thing with like the Sony Open. It didn't really matter. Same with the Tournament of Champions. You could be a short driver and still score well there. Here, it's just really tough for the short guys. And if you are a little bit shorter, you better be one hell of a ball striker with your long irons, or it ain't going to get it done. It's a reason why, Xander is a guy that I love this week up top. Bryson, 9,900. He's the ultimate wild card. If he's on his game, he's going to gain strokes on the around the green. If he is not on his game, his recent form around the green, not good at all. just really not good. So, didn't do well. Placed 25th at the Century Tournament of Champions, 7th at the Tour Championship, 2nd at the BMW on that nice little run. So he's already played once this year, which is good. Pulled out of the Sony Open, which I thought was personally a little bit strange. I think that I thought that he could have done very well there. I would have liked to seen him there, but he's a guy I've got a lot of interest in. Scotty Scheffler, again, playing pretty well. Jordan Spieth is a guy that I think can do well here with his ball striking and his scrambling game. If your ball striking's off and you're not gaining too much off the tee, is not going to gain a ton off the tee, you can make up with it around the green. Sungjae and Willie Z are two guys that I really like this week. Sungjae started showing a little bit of the form last week. He's coming around. Dropping down, Patrick Reed, has a great history at this course. His form right now isn't particularly great. He's just not playing very well. My guy down here, 8,200, Maverick McNeilly, California kid, Stanford golfer, has played this course a ton. I'm really feeling me some Mav this week. Now, again, like Bryson, hit a ton, around the green game, not great. Putting about midfield, but he's in top 12 in DK scoring, which is something on a week like this week, it's going to be really important, even when you do make the cut, right? But he's a bomber. He's got the ability to kind of reach out there and do that a little bit. So I think it's really, really interesting. He's going to be one of my kind of off the board plays. I don't think a lot of people are going to play him. In a minute, we'll kind of check ownership here and see where kind of everybody might be at. But he's one of my guys that I really like this week. We've got Keegan Bradley priced up at 7,900 this week, which I don't really understand. Aaron Wise is a guy down at 7,500 who is mid-pack. He's added some length to his game for sure, but he's still one of the shorter hitters out there. But he's up to 34th, and he's up even with the field per round when it comes to gaining strokes. He's positive 0.3, but ends up gaining about 13.3 total strokes on the field in the last 50 rounds. This is a 50-round sample size, right? So if you look at Aaron Wise, if we could look at his recent tournament history, he's got an average driving distance of 302 yards, 62% accuracy, and he's hitting the greens at about a 70% clip. Not bad, not great. He's in his last 5, he's on fire. He hasn't played since the Houston Open, where he lost 2.5 strokes around the green, which is not great. But he's gaining everywhere else. Gained 2.4 off the tee. Ended up played pretty good during the swing season. 8th at the Shriners, 5th at the CJ Cup, 15th at Mayakoba, and then 26th at Houston. And then took a couple months off there. So Aaron Wise, I think, is a guy that, look, this is by far, we're talking GPP plays here. I don't play any cash. So this could be like really bad. But Aaron Wise has really put quite a bit of work into his game over the last few years. And I think it's really coming around and rounding into form. So he's a guy at 7,500 where I have a lot of interest in. Tringali is another guy. The biggest detractor for him, again, it goes completely against the narrative of the bomber. He's 132nd in driving strokes gain distance off the tee, right? We got Keith Mitchell, hits it a ton. He prefers Bermuda. Doesn't play well on these West Coast swings. Don't have a ton of interest in him. Keep scrolling down the list here. Cam Davis isn't a stats guy at all. Neither is Gary Woodland, but I like both of them. I liked Woodland a fair amount last week. I like that he got 3 rounds in before this. I'm interested. I'm going to go back to Woodland. Not a lot of people will, but I'm interested to go back to Woodland and kind of see and really watch his rounds this week to see where he's at. I think he's going to have a pretty good year this year as long as he's healthy, and that's always been his challenge in the past. Getting down now into the low 7,000s and at a tournament like this, there's not a lot down here. Last week, there were some good gems we found down in Grayson Sig and a few other guys. We're getting down to like 7,000, and it's already looking like really, really rough. I think maybe one of my favorite guys down here is Adam Long, but his ball striking has just been terrible lately. Um, his short game, good. Off the tee, bad. I don't know if I can get to Adam. His putting's been really good, but he might just have too many things. I'm going to go back to Grayson Sig. He's about even against the field with strokes gained off the tee, so decent hitter. Strokes gained putting has been terrible, and he's, like really terrible. Let's go take a look at what he did last week. So finished 25th and 42nd last 2 weeks. He did it last week. Kind of pretty even, just a pretty solid, consistent game. And then at the Sony, gained 4.3 against the field. Not good around the greens. 4.3 on approach against the field. So decent ball striking. Grayson Sig, I think, is a guy that I think you can go to. Fair amount of risk, however. So obviously keep that in mind. Got good old Emiliano Griot down here. Can't rot. 42nd, about even against the field in driving distance for strokes gained off the tee, but he's a guy that could shoot a tremendous number, right? And just kind of go down. These are guys that you're probably only going to play if you want to jam in a couple of the top guys. I don't think that's necessary. I don't think it's necessary this week. Just kind of looking at the field overall. I think that more of a balanced build is probably going to be your way to go. There's so much value in the low nines, mid eights. Keeping in mind that I think that's probably also going to be the most popular build. A lot of people don't know a lot of these guys in the low sixes and high sevens. I've highlighted a few guys that I want to play. I'm going to generate some lineups here in a second to see kind of what it spits out at me. But, going with, stars and scrubs approach could be a lucrative approach, but just keep in mind we're back to a normal cut week. Top 65 and ties is going to get through. Yeah, man. I'm looking for something down here. Steven Yeager's got some good scrambling numbers, horrible off the tee. It is ugly when we get down into the mid sixes. So, if I'm you guys, I'm probably avoiding that at all costs. The lowest I think I probably want to dip is 6,700 for Emiliano Griot, or that's about it. So I've got a fair amount of people start here. So let me take a look at some ownership projections real quick and see kind of where things are shaking out as of Tuesday night. So Rahm is coming in with the highest owned at about 22%. We've got, after Rahm, Tony Finau, which is 21%. He didn't really show me a whole hell of a lot last week. I think that's probably a pretty easy fade for you this week. Tony's a great golfer. Here's the easiest fade of the week. Luke List at 19.5%. No thanks. I like Luke List, and I know he's the Pat Mayo darling, right? But obviously you have to check back, and this is just off of Fantasy National. This is a projection off of how many people are generating lineups with Luke List. But, man, 62% of people who've generated lineups on Fantasy National have favorited Luke List. That is a little bit scary. I know that Pat bumps his product Fantasy National, which I've been a member of for forever. But holy moly. Will Zalatoris coming in at about 18%. Damn it. My guy Maverick McNeilly coming in at 15%. I guess that says something good. But I may not be as high on him. Sung J M coming in at about 14%. Aaron Wise popping up 13%. Xander Schauffele only 13%. So that's pretty good. Berger, which is a guy that I have some interest in this week, he's only floating around about the 10% range. Same with Bryson and Dustin. Scotty Scheffler, Cam Davis is up there around 10. Some lower owned guys that we started, we like. Gary Woodland's only going to be in like the 6-7% range. Cameron Tringali, around the 6% range as well. Charlie Hoffman withdrew, so sorry. I know there's some Charlie Hoffman people out there. Jordan Spieth, he's the one that really interests me in that 9,000 range, only coming in with about 3 to 4% ownership. Maybe it's a high 5 in like a single entry, but man, I don't think that he's going to be that highly owned. Bezadenhout apparently is going to be really cheap. I think a lot of the Willie Z ownership is going to Willie Z and away from him. Griot, who's somebody like we just talked about that we had some interest in, 2.6% ownership. Grayson Sig, 1%. Ches Reavie, maybe with like a 1% flyer. But that's about it. So some kind of interesting things there. I was just sorting by ownership. Let's sort by salary here. And yeah, up at the top, Dustin's going to be the lowest owned, over 10,000. When we look in that like very small 9,000 range, everyone's playing Sam Burns, no one's playing Brooks, no one's playing Scheffler, no one's playing Spieth. And then so that like Spieth, Scheffler, Brooks range is kind of the dead range. People are either going down to Sungjae or Willie Z and then Tony Finau, or they're going up to Sam Burns at the top of the 9,000s. I like trying to get maybe a couple of those guys. Here's the real dead range, though, that I think we have to look at when we're talking about a balanced build. Bezadenhout, Homa, Wolf, Reed, Connors, Gooch, and Leishman. 9,000 down to 8,300. No one's garnering more than 12% ownership. So I think like that is the kind of range where if you want to stack a few guys in there, Siwoo Kim and Billy Horschel coming in really low owned. Siwoo is actually not playing too bad. This course really isn't the best fit for him, but I think that it's a fine fit for him. And I think he's more of a form play for me. I think his form is playing pretty well. So he's somebody I would definitely have some interest in. Cam Davis, Gary Woodland, that range in like low to mid sevens are people that I really like. Alexander Noren, Jason Day actually looked pretty good. So at 7,500, if you want to try Jason Day out there, this is a course he can succeed on. Yeah, I mean, that's about it. Down once you get down here into the low sevens, I mean, Patrick Rogers is garnering over 12% ownership. No thanks. Joseph Bramlett is apparently gaining 12% ownership. I get the buzz. He's been playing okay, but man, that's an easy fade for me. If somebody down in the 6,700 range is garnering anything over 8%, I mean, you're just going to do yourself a favor by the majority of the time just crossing them off the list, right? So let me go generate a couple of lineups here, see what the lineup generator has for us. I always like to do this to kind of see. I don't build a ton of lineups off of this, but I like to generate 10 lineups, all with a minimum salary of no more than 49,900. A maximum salary, and then a minimum salary of 49,200 100 is the range that I like to play in. I like to do a max of 3 shared golfers per lineup as well. And let's see what it comes out with right now. You can weight your exposure and stuff like that. I tend to not mess around too much with that. I got a pretty tight core starred and favorited right now, so I'll be interested to see what the lineup generator does for me. So we've got some interesting builds here. Again, I like the ones that, we've got like a Bryson, Spieth, Bezadenhout to start your lineup, and then you can kind of fill it out from there with $400 left on the table. The balanced ones are really, I think, what's going to get it done. Just looking at what the computer shot out to me, the lineup generator. I mean, the balanced builds are what it's preferring, right? I mean, yeah, we've got one where we shoved in Dustin and Shoffley. We had to go all the way down to Pat Perez, and that also includes Ches Reavie. That's kind of a fucking scary lineup. But yeah, like the ones where we start at 9,500 and you can spend up in the middle and get two guys in the nines, two guys in the eights. You will have to throw someone in there from the sixes, but I actually don't mind that too much, right? I think it's a pretty viable option as far as that goes. So yeah, I mean, that's going to be a very interesting week this week. Um, let's check the weather real quick, just so we're doing all of our due diligence. I use windfinder.com because wind is really the main thing that we care about. I mean, it can be a little bit foggy in San Diego, down in Torrey Pines, but for the most part, wind is going to be the ultimate defense of any golf course. So let's see. Torrey Pines. Torrey Pines glider port is what I always use. Um, it's the one that you see everybody taking off on the gliders. Tuesday, Wednesday, pretty calm. Thursday looks pretty calm. Friday, we're going to get some wind gusts in the afternoon, and it's going to be pretty cloudy all day on Friday. But nothing really to look for there on the weather. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Not going to be any sort of precipitous difference. Thursday in the afternoon might gust up, but only to 10 miles an hour. So that's nothing to think about. So weather's not a concern this week. So again, just to recap, some of my favorite plays from the week. I really only like going. Obviously, everyone's going to like John Rahm. I like John Rahm. If you can make it work, great. Dustin Johnson, Xander Schauffele, and Daniel Berger are my three highest priced guys that I really like a lot. In the nines, it's Bryson, Scotty, and Jordan. In the Bryson, Scotty, and Jordan in the high nines and the low nines, it's going to be Sungjae and Zalatoris. I'm going to eat the chalk on McNeilly and Zalatoris this week because I think that those are the guys that I feel really good about in that price range that I would like to play. Some other people in the range are going to have to do a little bit more research. I think I need to find some more people in here, but the early leans are towards Tringali, Wise, Davis, and Gary Woodland. I'm going right back to Woodland. I had a really good feeling about him last week. Just didn't quite get it going. I like that he played a week before this event, though. So I'll go back to him this week. Ches Reavie, Grayson Sig, Emiliano Griot, and then I'll get Pat Perez another round. Griot is really my favorite play from way down low. I think his approach game is really good. His putting is fucking terrible, but his around the green game scares me. But look, we're talking about dart throws in the 6,000 range. If you want to try and play a guy like John Rahm, you're going to have to play one of these guys. It's just unavoidable. You could do some builds with guys down in the sevens, but I think that just gives you such poor cut equity, right? That it's just not great. Yeah, I mean, Vinny, the Sig man, the Sig man is the man, right? So, yeah, I mean, I think we got a great tournament this week. Obviously, it's a pretty classic tournament. We love Torrey Pines. Everyone's going to get a chance to play the North course, which is the easier course. There's going to be no precipitous change in the weather draw. Really, I mean, what it's going to come down to is if you're to get your team to the weekend, if your guys really blitz the easier course this week and they take advantage of it, and then they have to play the South, which they're going to have to play twice over the weekend too. Right? So it's the harder course. It's the course that they play the U.S. Open on too. So that's about it. We're at about 25 minutes. I like to keep it toward that. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, like I said, this will be available on YouTube shortly. Go back and watch it, check it out. Vinny will get this uploaded to all of our all of our pod outlets and pod hosters. But again, give me a follow at JJ McIntosh on Twitter, and give us a follow at Redzone DFS, and also go subscribe to the YouTube. The YouTube is a great medium. We're going to start doing a lot more video content there. Especially coming up with baseball. We're going to do definitely probably a little March Madness stuff as well. But for golf season and stuff, we're going to try and do a few different types of videos, and I might do a few walkthroughs on like Fantasy National and stuff like that, just do some lineup construction type stuff. So, look forward to seeing everybody. I'm going to be flying most of the day tomorrow. But I will update everybody and check in after we kick off the tournament Thursday morning. Peace.